2 manga videos in a row? Who does this person think they are? Aren't they supposed to be a booktube channel? What does manga have to do with anything? Well, no one's probably thinking that, but shut up about it anyway. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is October and this is Nerdboy Reads, a channel in which I talk about books and manga that I've recently been loving and or not loving recently. And today I thought we would do something that I have thought about for a little while, but I wanted to put into action today. As I told you all earlier, the month of August has been rough for me, especially the last 2 weeks, but I have found refuge in manga, and I wanted to talk about a couple that have made me happy. And while I am going to be talking about the ones that made me happy immediately in August, I'm just going to also talk about some manga that I've been loving in general, and that every time I think about them, I smile for one reason or another. 2 series that I really credited for pulling me through in August were Blue Period and Life Lessons with Urumichi Onisan. These are the two series that really pulled it together for me, made me really happy, especially in the last 2 weeks, whatever, of August. And yeah, Life Lessons with Urumichi Onisan is the one that I've read the most of. They came in these 2-volume omnibuses, and I read all 3 of them throughout the entire last 2 weeks of August. Lessons with Urumichi Onisan is about a 31-year-old man, Urumichi Omota, who works on a children's show and he hates his life. I really found this one really funny and kind of relatable, especially since I am about to enter my 30s, which is insane to think about. But all the problems he voices, the ones about worrying about your future, where are you supposed to be, and all that stuff that keeps me up at night, is really voiced in a comedic way. It's like a dark comedy in a way, and it just made me smile when I really didn't want to. I also really liked how, kind of a spoiler, but as you go through this series, you see that Urumichi is not just this angry guy who hates life and wants to make everyone miserable. He's actually really awkward and nervous and anxious about trying to make impressions on people and just trying to live his life under the radar, but also keeping friends, but he just doesn't know how to make friends. And every time he tries to reach out to people, it seems like they shut him out. It's really sad, but it's mostly funny. The relationships in here, the characters are very diverse and dynamic, and I really enjoy watching them interact. If you want to interact with this series in any way, there is an anime that covers the first 2 omnibuses, which are the first 4 volumes of the manga. There is supposedly a 4th omnibus coming out in the middle of next year, so they're probably going to put another season out. I'm hoping they put another season out for the next 2 omnibus, the next 4 volumes of this series. But yeah, if you want something that'll just make you happy and smile, just pick this one up. It's so funny. And then we have Blue Period. Blue Period is about Yatora Yaguchi, who suddenly, in the middle of his senior year of high school, he decides he wants to go to art school. He wants to pursue art as a career. He wants to drop everything, and he really is passionate about art. Despite him knowing nothing about it, he decides he wants to throw his whole heart into it. And it's a really good series. You learn a lot of techniques about it. You learn a lot of history, especially in these 2 most recent volumes that I've read. You get a lot of more of the history side and the technicality side, it's kind of like you're learning about art and technique with Yatora, which is really fun because it makes me want to go and pick up some art supplies, not professional art supplies or anything, just some cheap dollar paint from Walmart and a $5 sketch pad or whatever, and just go ham. His journey is inspiring. It's kind of rough to watch sometimes because he is so new, especially entering the university that he actually ends up going to. You can kind of see him struggling to keep up with everyone, but he's actually doing really well. He's experimenting, and even though he falls, he ends up picking himself back up by realizing, hey, everyone struggles, no one's perfect with it, as long as I'm having fun. When have I stopped having fun with this one thing that I was really passionate about? And as someone who has many a passion, I worry about that as well. It's really relatable. It's really fun. The last volume, volume 8, is the one that really picked me up when I was feeling down, and the characters you meet along the way, especially in university, who become friends with Yatura and guide him and help him, and he picks techniques up from, are like some of the best friend characters in any series that I've ever read, and it's just really sweet to see him go through this journey of self-exploration and figuring out what makes him happy, and it's just really good. There is an anime on Netflix. It's about 10 episodes, I think, and that covers the first 6 volumes of the manga, so if you want to start that, you can. If you want to pick up the manga, I highly recommend it, but you can just watch the anime and get the full experience of it. Plus, it gets the added bonus of seeing the art in progress and the art in color that they use throughout the series, so yeah. Okay, now that that's out of the way, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone when I say Dr. Stone makes me really happy. I don't know why. It's another one of those series that I picked up just on a whim. Like, I watched the first episode when it came on Adult Swim, back when they still aired, like, more than 3 series at a time. This was one of them, and I watched the first episode on a whim, and I really enjoyed it, and so I picked up the manga, and it just really makes me happy. The journey... Oh, I should probably explain what it's about, as if I haven't talked about it at least 5 times on this channel. Dr. Stone is about a high schooler Senku who wakes up in a world after being turned into stone. We see that time has passed, so he's now 3,500 years into the future, and we watch him try to bring back civilization through the power of primitive science and technology. And it's really fun. The journeys... I recently rewatched this entire anime from start to finish because I love it that much. Like, the characters in here are fun. I do have complaints. I have complained about it a while, where in the first few volumes, and especially like the middling volumes, it feels very cliche. The characters, you know, feel like they aren't really doing much, they aren't really going anywhere, but still, their interactions are really fun to watch. Watching them try to figure out the problems that they are faced with is fun. Seeing everyone's reaction to modern technology in the stone world, especially those... I can't say it, but it's just really fun. I highly recommend picking it up. The last volume, volume 22, yeah, that most recent one that just came out, and it's the best volume by far. I cannot wait for the next volumes to come out. It should be coming out soon. I think it's in like November. I may end up just picking it up on Shonen Jump app and finishing it up there and still collect these volumes, because this is by far one of my favorite series, and it makes me happy every time I think about it, every time I interact with the series. When I watch it, when I read it, I'm probably going to end up reading the manga soon, because I did finish the anime, and I want to pick it up immediately where it left off, the OVA left off, and I want to keep going with it. Like, it's such a good series, it's addictive for some reason. Like I've hinted at, there is 2 seasons of this anime and an OVA that just came out, so like a 1 hour long, well, 54 minutes of certain things I can't really get into because it would be a spoiler, but you can pick it up from there. It's like many anime that comes out nowadays, it's a pretty much beat-for-beat remake of the manga, so I highly recommend, if you want to start it from the anime, if you want to start it from the manga, I just recommend starting it, because it's a really good series. I don't know why it's so good, it's just is. And even though the science is really accurate, apparently, like they say, they have to put like disclaimers like, don't do this at home, you will get hurt if you try it, like leave it to the professionals. I think that's really fun, so keep that in mind. Like, don't try it. For legal reasons, don't try it. You can try making the soda, I guess. People have tried it, so go for it. Another one that is no surprise because it's become popular for making people happy. This is Spy Family. Spy Family is about Agent Twilight, who gets a mission that he has to make a family to try to infiltrate this school to get intel from a potential enemy. So he has to make a family, so he has to find a wife and a child in like 3 days, and the shenanigans that go on in this series is so fun. The little girl that he ends up picking up is a telepath, and the wife he chooses is an assassin. And neither of them, he doesn't know that she's an assassin, she doesn't know that he's a spy, but the little telepath girl knows everything. And the shenanigans that they get into. This is also a really nice slice of life one, because while there is a lot of comedy and there is a solid amount of action, the heart of this series is the interaction between the characters, like watching them try to become a family, watching them interact with the world, and how even though they've met each other for like 2 days, they would kill for the other one. It's just spectacular. The comedy is peak. It's like a gag manga, but the jokes are set up really well, and I'm not usually one for a comedy manga if it doesn't have a lot of heart in it, and that's what this series is. The series is a lot of heart, and it makes me so happy to think about and read. I just read the new chapter. As of reading it, as of recording this, a new chapter did just come out on the Shonen Jump app, and it's very funny. Like, the characters that we're introduced to, the regular characters, the side characters that come up a lot, they're very funny. Like, each of them have their own quirks, and watching their quirks interact with the quirks of those around them is spectacular. Like, it's just something you have to experience firsthand. You can either pick this up on the Shonen Jump app, physical volumes, or there is an anime out. Part 2 comes out in October, so if you want to wait till then, you can. It's a beat for beat remake of the manga, but just with the action. It's animated really well. The characters, they are voiced really well. The action that they put into it is very dynamic, and I just really love interacting with this series. It makes me so happy. Even just like reading the one chapter that comes out every 2 weeks on the Shonen Jump app is enough to like bring a smile to my face for the rest of the day. So if that should tell you something. I'm kind of a surprising pick, I would think, because it's not something one would traditionally think of when they think of stuff that makes you happy. That's Kaiju number 8. This one really makes me happy. This is in a world where kaiju-like beings appear out of nowhere and attack people. Kafka Habano is a person who cleans up after the mess. Like, he goes around, he cuts up the bodies. He's like the Marvel people. You know, in Marvel how they have the people who come in and clean it up? That's what he does with the monster attacks. One day, he gets infected with a parasite that turns him into a kaiju, so now he can transform into a kaiju, which is kind of a problem considering he wants to join the Kaiju Defense Agency and, like, kill monsters, and it's really fun. It's really about a man who tries to rediscover his childhood dreams and get back into the swing of things, even though he's considered old at like 30 or whatever. So seeing him go back and interact with these practical children who are like 18 to 20, seeing him try to keep up with them and say, hey, I can still do this, you don't have to count me out just yet, like, help me, I'm gonna help you all, helps people with his knowledge of cleaning up kaiju. He's seen the most intimate details of these kaiju, so he knows how to take them out even without his kaiju powers. And it's just really sweet to see a man still trying to live his dreams, because a lot of it's just, we need more older protagonists. Just end statement, especially in shonen manga, where like it's about following your dreams and living your best life and whatnot. Showing that you're never like too old to go after your dreams is something that's really happy to me. Like it makes me really happy to see, because like I still worry about that, and seeing him go after his goals and whatnot makes me still want to go after my goals and whatnot. So I highly recommend this series. It's more action based than anything, but the comedy in here cracks me up. Like, it's another one of those character moments where everyone has their own little quirks, and seeing their quirks bump up against other people's quirks, it's fun. Interact with this series. An anime has been announced, but mostly it's physical volumes and Shonen Jump app volumes that get published that are out now, but an anime is coming. I heard next year is when it's supposed to be coming out, so start with the manga, get hype with me, and then watch the anime and just thrive, I guess. Just thrive with this series with me. I think I mentioned this next one a bit ago, but that is The Devil is a Part-Timer. This is about Sadao Mao, this guy. He is actually the Devil King in another world, but he gets transferred transported, that's the word I'm looking for. He gets transported to modern day Japan, and he's lost, and he has to learn everything from scratch and how to survive in a non-magical world. So he gets a job at McDonald's. Well, the knockoff McDonald's, McRonald's. You know how they do in anime. And there's so much more to it than that. Like, this is another really big character story, and it's mostly a comedy, but the action in here is peaked. Like, trying to watch this guy live his best life and get hype over doing, like, little tasks. Like, he wants to be a manager of McDonald's because he thinks that'll get him closer to his goal of taking over the world. It's dark. Like, it's just such a good series. See, there is an anime for this. There's season 1. Season 2 just came out after, like, 9 years, I think it was. I don't know. I'll put, like, a note somewhere saying when the first season came out compared to when the second season came out. But, yeah, the series is really good. It has a lot of hype behind it because the characters are really fun. The storylines that they go through, like, the overarching plot is he's trying to get back to his own world to finish the war. She's trying to prevent him from doing that. They're both in modern day Japan, and they're just trying to live life as normal citizens while also kind of hating each other because of where they were. If you want enemies to lovers, I hear that's like a big plot going around on Book Talk nowadays. If you want Book Talk, Bookstagram, whatever. If you want good enemies to lovers, like real enemies to lovers, this series, this series, like, the comedy is peak. There's a subtle romance element, I think. I'm not good at picking up on it, but it feels like it's going towards enemies to lovers from what I've heard. The comedy is gold. The action is really solid. The magic system is fun. The whole series is just one giant stack of untapped potential, and I love it so much. I think the light novels are done, so the manga should be wrapping up soon, which means the anime may get a good conclusion. I hope that means it is. I don't know, I'm not in the industry, but still, I hope that's what it means. Please pick up this series. Like, it's not being well, it's published, obviously, but the most recent, like, 2 volumes haven't been coming out in stores. I've had to order volume 17 online because none of the stores carry it. I don't know why. Figure that out. Well, I don't know if you can figure it out, but, like, they're just not stocking them anymore. So maybe if there's enough demand for it, they will order some more. I don't know. Just I want this series to be loved more than it is. So any little bit helps. This is a good series I don't hear a lot of people talking about. So yeah. Although it is getting more popular because the second season came out, and that really got a lot of attention to it because a lot of people realized that it's a really good series, which is true. Alright, next is a really quiet series, as in I don't hear a lot of people talking about this at all. There's no anime. The manga releases are really slow. There is supposed to be a volume 6, but I don't know how long this series is. I don't know if it's still going on. I'm really bad at keeping up with it, but this is one of my favorite series. Since I picked it up, it's become quickly one of my favorites, and it also makes me smile. It's very fun. This is Go With the Clouds North by Northwest. This is about this guy, K. He has the subtle ability to talk to technology, and he uses that ability to travel around and solve little mysteries for people. It's subtle sci-fi, but it's mostly slice of life. Like, it builds the characters really well. The world is really good. It's set in Iceland. It's so much fun. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this at all. It's a really cute little series. Well, it's not cute. It is cute, actually. The artwork is astounding. The character interactions are funny. It's just really well paced. It's kind of slow. There's a mystery thread underneath it all, but it's mostly just about these characters living a life, and it's really, really, really good. I don't know what to say about this series because it's kind of sci-fi, kind of comedy, mostly slice of life, but it's also like a love letter to Iceland because the author clearly really, really enjoyed his travels through this country to dedicate an entire manga to it. Like, every time we are introduced to a new place, the artwork is astounding. Like, you have to take a minute to pause and just live in this place that this author has drawn. It's astounding. Like, I'm not going to show you the artwork. I'm not going to do that to you. You have to pick it up for yourself. That's what I did. I picked it up for myself, so now you have to too. I picked this one up on a whim, and I'm really happy that I did. I am, like, addicted to this series. I'm constantly checking for updates on when the next release is for Volume 6, because the way Volume 5 ended left me, like, shook. But it's so under the radar that I don't know if it's going to get picked up, but it probably will, because there has to be enough demand. They wouldn't just leave it on Volume 5, would they? I recommend this series if you like just, like, a slow-paced slice of life with an undertone of sci-fi and mystery. If you just like watching characters interact and travel and you just want to get a sense of wanderlust, pick this series up. This series gave me such wanderlust. Like, I was convinced for my first time reading the first 3 volumes of the series, I was convinced that I was just gonna live in a van traveling the country, living my best life. And I still have that feeling sometimes. Especially every time I read this series, I just want to go traveling. Like, it'll do that to you. It did that to me. I hope I'm not just hyping it up. But I need to. More people need to read this series. Like, ooh, it's so sweet. It's so good. It's good. I don't know what else to say about it. Pick it up. I may reread this. I may have to reread this. I'll keep you posted. Next, we have one of the few comedies, like pure comedy series I read. This is Yotsuba. This is about a little girl, Yotsuba, who's just exploring the world. And it's so funny. This is purely a gag, a comedy manga. It's cutesy. There's not a lot of substance to it because there doesn't have to be. Like, you read this series simply to laugh. Like, you can pick up the series in any order if you want to. It's just that good. It's so funny. You don't need a lot of backstory. There's not a lot of character development. There's not a lot of, like, substance to it. But there's a lot of heart. Like, people clearly care about this little girl and they want to see her succeed. And that's just the sweetest thing to me. I went on a kind of a break on accident reading this series because I had the first 3 volumes, but it's impossible to find any of the other ones. And then suddenly I happened to stumble across volume 4 and 5, and I hadn't picked up the series in a while. Like, I hold on to it because it's funny and it, like, has me grounded, and it has me by the throat even though I barely interact with the series. But I picked up volume 4 and 5 and I did not need to, like, feel like I needed to reread volume 1 through 3 because it's just so good. Like, you can just pick up on the way the characters interact with each other. Like, even if they're just introducing, like, a chapter or 2 in, like, whatever order you want to. You immediately get a sense of what these characters, how these characters interact with each other and what they're about, and the vibe they give off is so immaculate. Like, I read volume 4 and 5, like, years after I read 1, 2, and 3, and I was still laugh out loud cackling in my dorm room, just having a good old time. I'm so glad I read this series. Like, this is one of the first manga that I ever read, like, in my entire life. Like, I know I said Black Cat and D. Gray Man was one of them, but Yotsuba was also one of the ones that, like, I hold very near and dear to my heart that got me into manga. So, if you just need something to sit down and make you, like, actually cackle, like, laugh out loud, take a step back from trouble, and just have a good time with good vibes, pick up Yotsuba. Like, it's relatively popular because it's a cute series and they're still coming out. Like, it's slow release because I believe the mangaka said that she didn't want to put out work that she wasn't proud of, so she really takes her time crafting the jokes, crafting the characters, putting the art in. Like, the art isn't very detailed, but it's cutesy, and that's the vibe that's needed for this. Like, it doesn't have to be super detailed. You can still, like, go into it and have a good time. This is also a really good beginner manga, I feel like, because if you want to get a vibe for whether or not you like comedy manga and gag manga, start with Yotsuba. It's spectacular. I need to get more of this series. I need to get more shelf space, and then I need to get more of this series, because I'm pretty sure I can find them on Right Stuff or eBay or whatnot. I just haven't been able to do that, I guess. But yeah, really makes me happy. This will make you happy. I hope it makes you happy. Just watching her go through life living her best life and having the grand old time that she deserves is something to see. It's so funny. I love it. Pick it up. We have our Not So Lonely Planet travel guide. This is a BL manga about Asahi and his boyfriend Mitsuki, or one of the other. I forget which one's which. I'm really bad with character names. But this is about two men who quit their job and start traveling the world because they agreed that once they hit all the countries on their travel list, they're gonna get married. And I can't stop thinking this manga lives in my head rent-free. Volume 3 just got a release date, and I heard about this on a whim. I was watching, I forget whose channel introduced this to me, but I was watching their channel, and this just happened to come up, and I'm like, oh, I have to. I need a good adult BL manga. And this is it. This is so, like, you can tell that these two men are, like, so deeply in love with each other. It's sickening. The countries that they travel to are also really well depicted. Like, they're not fetishized, they're not idealized, they just kind of, well, they're kind of idealized because it's what it is, but it's so beautiful. They take time, they take a little time to explore everywhere, and they meet people who just want them to have a good time everywhere they meet. It's really sweet to see them interact with the world, interact with the cultures, and with each other. They're so funny together. Like, the chemistry in here is peak. This is peak romance right here. Like, my standards are impossible because of some men like this. Like, I'm gonna travel the world and then propose to you. Like, we're gonna travel the world, spend all this money. Well, it's not about money. We're gonna create all these memories. We're gonna explore different cultures together. We're gonna be together non-stop, 24/7. And then I'm still gonna decide to marry you? What? This is so sweet. I think this is only like a 3 or 4 volume series, but it's packed full of heart and love for each other and the culture, and this author clearly, like, respects a lot of cultures, which is really good because you can't portray a culture if you don't respect it. That's what I think. Like, if you have a respect for cultures, you can write whatever you want to, and this author, this mangaka, clearly loves everywhere that they portray. Like, I can't with this series. I need more people to pick it up. I need more people to pick it up because I need to talk about this with more people, and I don't know anyone else who's read this. There's only 2 volumes out right now, and they're manga. They're quick to get through. You can do it. I believe in you. Read this. If you pick up any series on this because of me, because of this channel, because of this video, make it this one. Just, that's it. That's all I have to say. Pick this one up. This one. Our Not So Lonely Planet travel guide. Pick it up. Just do it. Just do it. This one, okay? This one. And that's it. Those are the manga that have recently been making me really happy. A lot of them a lot of them are ones that I have interacted with recently through varying means. And then Yotsuba, I think, is the only one that I haven't really interacted with in a while because, like I said, I haven't been able to find the volumes because they're kind of hard to come by nowadays. But it still holds a special place in my heart. A lot of these really do. A lot of these series that I just named, like I said, make me happy. Be it if I just attach fond memories to them and I haven't read them in a while, or if I interact with them on a yearly basis because I just need to continuously feed that side of me. These ones pull me through. Like, whenever I'm depressed, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm anxious, I just shut off my brain and pick up one of these series, and it just gets me through life. So hopefully that gave you a little taste of something that you can potentially reach towards whenever you're feeling sad. If you like manga, I can probably do a book one of these too if you want, because there's a lot of books that I've been reading recently that just make me like shiver with anticipation and like love and just vibrate with joy. So if you want me to do that, let me know. But I did manga because manga helped me through August, and yeah. They're also kind of easier to interact with because you can probably get through them a little quicker than you can a book because it's mostly pictures. I guess the artwork is really good. Like, take the time to look at the pictures. Just make sure you do that, because a lot of the images in these series are like really well done. Like, I'm not gonna show you. You have to pick them up for yourself. It'll be a spoiler. Like, this is me enticing you to pick up these series to check out the art. Like, do it. It's so good. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here. I've been talking for a long time, and I have to get ready because I have things to do because I'm an adult and we function apparently. So that's all for this video. I've been October. This has been Nerd Boy Reads, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!